Next up, Chris Zannetos, the co-founder and CEO of Covered Security and founder of the nonprofit STEMatchMA, which helps make STEM opportunities more accessible for marginalized communities. Chris, thank you for being here.
Thanks, Adam. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
I'm asking you and all the other candidates to identify what they believe sets them apart from the rest of the field. In your case, what is it?
Well, I think actually I can best answer that by explaining why I decided to run for this office. So, as I think you know, I entered this race late. And the reason that I jumped in is that all I heard from the candidates was who's going to be the biggest fighter down in Washington. I didn't hear anyone talk about how they're going to cut through partisanship to get things done. And I didn't hear anyone talk about the single most important issue that divides us, that creates so many of our problems, which is we've got an economy that works for only those at the top and leaves everyone else behind, unless you can somehow get the lottery ticket and afford the lottery ticket of a four-year college education. And by the way, 6 months later, a pandemic and economic catastrophe later, they're still not talking about it. And frankly, neither is the news media. But the people who are talking about it, and where people are talking about it is I see them when I ride my bike through every town in our district where I've met with over 500 people. Not a single one has asked me how I'm going to fight Trump or fight the NRA. But every single one almost has asked me, how am I going to help them get financial security? How are we going to create more opportunity for their kids? And how are we going to get Congress to actually work to get things done? This is
so when they ask you those things, what do you tell them? How are you going to do that stuff? Because those are big things.
They're huge things, but they're hugely important things, right? So the first thing is that we've got to find a way to make economic opportunity available to people without having to have a four-year college degree. This is something that I've worked on with my nonprofit STEMmatch, where I brought companies to work with Mass Bay Community College to expand the one-year cyber certificate program to make it possible for people to get these $60,000 to $80,000 a year entry-level cyber jobs without a four-year college education. I think that we can do this and drive this from the government as well, to give incentives to our companies to provide apprenticeships and internships, to invest in our people like they invest in equipment, to give our people skills to succeed in the 21st century economy. And by the way, there are millions of these sort of jobs chronically unfilled in the United States because every company is looking for a four-year college graduate, and there's no experiential lifelong learning to help someone who has less than that actually get the position.
When you talk about doing that, are you confident that that is the sort of innovation, legislatively speaking, that would get support from Republicans and Democrats? Because as you know, you may not like the focus on partisanship, but there is a lot of partisanship in D.C., which grinds a lot of seemingly logical, commonsensical policy proposals to a halt. So what makes you think that you'd get bipartisan buy-in there?
So you're absolutely right. So look, the only thing I've done in politics before running for this office was work for Ted Kennedy as an intern. And what I learned from the senator was that you can fiercely advocate for your positions, but find a way to work with people who you don't agree with to get things done. And the way you do that is by building a relationship and by creating win-wins, right? The reason we don't have immigration reform, the reason we don't have climate change action is because there are too many Americans who are worried about losing their jobs, rightly or wrongly. And Republicans may believe that, or they may use that as a political weapon. Well, the ones who believe that, let's solve that together. And then we can move forward and address these other issues. And frankly, we can do them at the same time. One of the things I proposed is that with the wind farm off of our district, that we incent manufacture of the wind turbines here in the United States, because every one that we bring for that wind farm will be imported because we don't make them here. Well, let's make them here. Let's create middle-class jobs, because in the past few decades, we have eliminated 20% of the middle-class jobs and replaced them with low-wage jobs, which is the problem.
The Kennedy, sorry to interrupt you, the Kennedy approach that you're describing, it sounds terrific, but I find myself wondering if American politics right now, in the moment that we're in, is just fundamentally different than it was when Ted Kennedy was in the Senate. You hear Joe Biden kind of rhapsodize about the way things used to work and how you'd make common cause with people of good faith on both sides. My sense from the outside is that it's just really rare for that to happen. Is it possible that your vision is overly idealized?
I suppose it's possible. It's not that there aren't good people down there trying to get this done. We have the Problem Solvers Caucus, right? 24 Democrats, 24 Republicans who get together to find ways to work together. Well, the first thing I'm going to do down in Washington is I'm going to join that. And of course, I've got to bring a Republican with me, because there are people down there trying to do this. There just aren't enough. We've got to get more people down there who have the working style of creating win-wins instead of win-loses. And by the way, it may be idealized, but one way that I don't think we're going to get any progress is sending another person down there to demonize people who disagree with them, because we're never going to get anything done. We got enough fighters down there. We need builders.
Let me ask you a couple questions I've been running by your colleagues to try to make you all squirm a little bit, and everyone's been dodging them so far,
Sure.
so you may be the first to actually answer them. If you couldn't vote for yourself in this race, but had to vote for one of your opponents, who would it be and why?
Okay, that really is a question to squirm. So look, it would be challenging. One thing I've got to say is that all of the candidates are good people. So one of the things that I've done while I've been trying to show the differences in our positions is I've been very positive. In fact, I actually complimented Alan Casey in the middle of the debate, at one debate, and he was so shocked he called me later to thank me. What's right is right? They're all good people. I disagree with a lot of their positions. I disagree that government has to do everything. But my most important focus is who is going to solve this economic opportunity issue. And unfortunately, I just have not seen a lot from the other candidates. So it would be really hard to figure that out. I'm sorry, you're not going to get a full answer from me because I don't know who I pick.
It's okay. I'm gonna try another one that you may offer a similar response to.
Sure.
You're running to replace a guy who's running for the U.S. Senate. As you size up Joe Kennedy's Senate campaign and Ed Markey's campaign, is one of them more attuned to your issue of economic opportunity?
That is a tough one because I think they both are in sort of different ways. And they offer some very similar solutions and a few different ones. I'm still undecided with that race. I think they're both great elected officials. I think they both do a great job for us. I'm still waiting for the closing argument, and as I think many of our voters and our residents are. But I think that, frankly, they all would drive that. I think one thing that does concern me is I don't think, when you look at the Green New Deal, which they both support, but of course Senator Markey was one of the authors of, it suggests a lot of things that government will do, which I don't think it can do effectively, like guarantee jobs for everyone. So I would need to see some more details from them also about how they would actually accomplish this.
Chris Zannetos, thank you for the conversation and good luck down the home stretch.
Thanks, Adam. I greatly appreciate it. A lot more work to be done.